Hey, good afternoon, guys. What's going on? It's so very good to see you. Thanks for being here.
When
Appreciate you.
advertising on YouTube.
Hey, Thomas, good afternoon, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you so very much. Guys, we back. We are I'm back. Hi, I'm wearing the same shirt. Shout out to Breaking Bad, Mr. Walter White. Holla back. This is I'm wearing my Breaking Bad Sunday t-shirt today. Because I'm Breaking Bad. I'm telling the world that the earth is flat. Well, everybody thinks we're on this shiny blue marble. I hope you guys are awesome and having an amazing afternoon. The weather is absolutely, I think we may hit 30 today. It's low key. It's crazy. It's so bright and so wonderful. Oh no, there's just some floaty clouds in the sky going by, which is absolutely fantastic. Raj, oh no, Jackie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you so very much, homie. Thanks for being here. And like, don't ever apologize for not for missing shows and stuff. Don't even worry about that stuff. This isn't school, right? This is just well, it kind of like was school this morning because school was in session. But it's never anything where there's anything rendered or anything like that. The information will be there to be consumed by yourselves whenever you choose to pick it up and consume it. Either way, whether your energy is positive, negative, we love it all. We take it all. We transmute it all and we turn it because we understand that the energy is just misplaced. So, this first share, I am literally committing thievery in the middle of the night. Mark, thank you so much for this one, buddy. And why I say I'm committing thievery in the middle of the night is because he states my videos are free to use by everyone. Edit and repost as you see fit. So he did say edit, so I can just take out this section. Okay, so I don't have to say a thief in the night. I am gonna just walk in and literally take this chunk because shout out to Raj. Literally, oh look at that. You just dropped in. What's up, homie? Sky event tonight. That's right. I gotta tell you guys about that for a quick sec. We'll talk about it in a minute. The next share we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes is Raj's upload the other day. This man blessed me with something, boy, and now that I've connected with, I literally say this and there's a honk. You guys can hear it. There's a honk happening outside. Connecting with Mark allowed me to edify this share, which will give amazing background to what we're gonna get into. So yeah, I've talked enough. So check this out. Now that we've laid the quote limit of the sky, right? We've edified the firmament, right? And it's there in written text in Genesis. The firmament exists. Okay, that's one. Park it. We've established the placement of it through the where the moon and the sun is, right? We'll get into the actual numbers of the height of how high they are in the sky. The numbers are really interesting. What I will also say is that the sun and the moon are both 51 kilometers in diameter, and I was mentioning that on the prior show, from node to node, like tip to tip. So, now that we've established the firmament, which is the roof, let's talk about the ground, the foundation. Well, not the foundation. Let's talk about just what is actually happening on the ground. And Raj, he knows exactly where we're going to, and that's through the work of Admiral Byrd. Byrd. Bird is the word. Okay, let's go. Oh snap! Sorry guys, I didn't give you the title. What a poor host. I didn't even intro my guest. Okay, my guest is Flat Earth Clues Part 5, Status Quo by Mr. Mark Sargent. Let's go.
Then in the early part of the 1900s, you get this pesky explorer named Richard Byrd. He has family money, all the right connections, and secures basically unlimited funding and the government green light to probe every piece of unseen territory there is. It was inevitable, I guess. A young man who has an unquenchable desire to see all that there is to see, and then granting him the tools needed to accomplish this goal. He pulls a Truman and gets lucky, crossing the vast salt ocean, avoiding the icebergs, arriving at the frozen coastline, and he keeps going. He was never going to stop. One day, after crossing hundreds of miles of high-altitude ice and snow, Admiral Byrd sees it, a barrier. And to him, it's just a barrier, not the barrier. He is but a tiny speck in front of it. It stretches out on both sides as far as he can see, and straight up so far that he can't discover the beginning of the arc. The great explorer now has a new challenge, finding the shape of this thing. It's much like a blind man describing the elephant. Until you feel out the whole thing, what do you really know? If you look at the AE, or Flat Earth Overhead Map, you see the problem. To even determine the scope of the outer wall.
Okay, wait. I'm just going to quickly interject. This map that we're looking at, okay, is different to the one that's in the moon. Okay? So don't experience cognitive dissonance, and I may in fact be confusing the hell out of everybody by showing this, right? But let's take in, hold on. No, we're gonna say, I'm not gonna do that to Mark's share. But again, let's just take in that we're looking at this from a standpoint of the story of Admiral Byrd. Okay, this is one of the maps that is believed to be, right, that is something that Flat Earth has explored, right? It's nothing like obviously the one that we looked at and unpacked this morning. Okay, I'm gonna like state that flat out. Pardon the pun. Okay, let's go.
You have to circle it.
Oops. Sorry, guys.
It would have taken months, if not years. You could use a series of ships going in opposite directions, or planes, but there are refueling stations that need to be built, and so on. His task was challenging to say the least. Admiral Byrd kept laying the groundwork of the great discovery until his eventual death in 1957. A year later, the United States and Russia found the upper edge. From there, the math was easy. And moreover...
Okay, so let's bear this in mind. 1958 is when he passed. Okay, 1959 is when the race to space started between the U.S. and the Soviet. Yeah, the Soviet at that time. Right now, just so we can place things on the timeline, 1945 is when World War II started. Okay, so you had 1945 till 1959, where there was those years of got the World War happening, and then you've got Admiral Byrd. That's his stuff is being published. Well, his story's out at this point. Okay?
You could actually see the real world. Then, of course, there is the decision, or deception, depending on how you looked at it. The authority made the call to hide the actual shape of where we live, then sealed off the outer edge from prying eyes, and created the space program not only to reinforce the globe model, but to control it. There was really only one reason they cared about this, and it takes a while to process. So let's look at the immediate effects of actual disclosure and work our way up to the authorities' biggest fear. For this exercise...
Okay. I'm going to leave this here. Okay. So we've edified Byrd with a description from Mark. Okay. He passed in 58, right? And then the race to space started in 59, conveniently. Okay. Now, we're going to look at this. This is a share by our very own Raging, here on YouTube. If you haven't added him yet, please do. Rajing. And you actually have to be very specific with your spelling. It has to be capital, excuse me, capital Rajing. Shout out to Ra. Shout out to Ra. I love that. Okay, now here's the meat and potatoes.
Admiral Richard E. Byrd's diary, February, March 1947. The land beyond the poles.
1947. So he passed in 59, or 58, we just said. Race to space started in 59. He went in 47. Okay. World War II started in 45. Okay, so these two things, I guess, were simultaneously happening. I'll double check the dating on World War II, but I'm pretty sure 45 is when World War II started.
The exploration flight over the North Pole, the inner Earth, my secret diary. I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity. It concerns my Arctic flight of the 19th day of February in the year of 1947. There comes a time when the rationality of men must fade into insignificance, and one must accept the inevitability of the truth. I am not at liberty to disclose the following documentation at this writing. Perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny. But I must do my duty and record here for all to read one day. In a world of greed and exploitation of certain of mankind, one can no longer suppress that which is truth. Flight log, Base Camp Arctic. February 19th, 1947. 0600 hours. All preparations are complete for our flight northward, and we are airborne with full fuel tanks at 0610 hours. 0910 hours. Vast ice and snow below. 0915 hours. In the distance is what appears to be mountains. 1000 hours. We are crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best as can be ascertained. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05 hours.
Okay, so this part here. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes.
Forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning.
Now, this is the drawing that was made. So his flight comes in here. Hope you guys can see that okay. Contrast will be hard, but his flight, it says here, Admiral Byrd's flight, 1947, comes in here, right? And this is what was stated. Bro, obviously continue with the audio, but Agarth, the land of ancient race, or sorry, advanced races. City of Shambhala, cave city of the semi-advanced race, spaceship base to our what? To from other galaxies, or to and from other galaxies. Small entrance, Rainbow City, ice, tunnel entrances to inner Earth. Brazil. How this works. And then over here you've got, what? Saucer to Venus. Melting ice. Test atom blast. Polar rushes back to Earth through center of shaft. Pyramid of Giza. So I don't know. I don't know how this works. But yeah. Based on the audio, I found this, and I'm like, this fits the description of what's being described. Because he talks about going to a tunnel. Let's go.
The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05 hours. I alter altitude to 1400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It is green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible, yet there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It is confirmed. It is definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to base camp. 10:30 hours. The external temperature indicator reads 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing on our heading now. Navigation instruments seem normal now. I am puzzled over their actions. Attempt to contact base camp. Radio is not functioning. 11:30 hours. Countryside below is more level and normal, if I may use that word. Ahead we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. Aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. The controls refuse to respond. My God! Off our port and starboard wings are a strange type of aircraft. They are closing rapidly alongside. They are disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They're close enough now to see the markings on them. It is a type of swastika. This is fantastic. Where are we? What has happened? I tug at the controls again. They will not respond. We are caught in an invisible vice grip of some type. 11:35 hours. Our radio crackles and a voice comes through in English, with what perhaps is a slight Nordic or Germanic accent. The message is, "Welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 7 minutes. Relax, Admiral. You're in good hands." I note the engines of our plane have stopped running. The aircraft is under some strange control and is now turning itself. The controls are useless. 11:40 hours. Another radio message received. We begin the landing process now, and in moments the plane shudders slightly and begins a descent as though caught in some great unseen elevator. The downward motion is negligible, and we touch down with only a slight jolt. 11:45 hours. I am making a hasty last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on foot toward our aircraft. They are tall, with blonde hair. In the distance is a large shimmering city, pulsating with rainbow hues of color. I do not know what's going to happen now, but I see no signs of weapons on those approaching. I hear now a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply. End log. From this point, I write all the following events here from memory. It defies the imagination and would seem all but madness if it had not happened. The radio man and I are taken from the aircraft and we are received in a most cordial manner. We were then boarded on a small platform-like conveyance with no wheels. It moves us toward the glowing city with great swiftness. As we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. Soon, we arrive at a large building that is a type I have never seen before. It appears to be right out of the design board of Frank Lloyd Wright, or perhaps more correctly, out of a Buck Rogers setting. We are given some type of warm beverage which tasted like nothing I have ever savored before. It is delicious. After about 10 minutes, 2 of our wondrous appearing hosts come to our quarters and announce that I am to accompany them. I have no choice but to comply. I leave my radio man behind, and we walk a short distance and enter into what seems to be an elevator. We descend downward for some moments, and the machine stops, and the door lifts silently upward. We then proceed down a long hallway that is lit by rose-colored light that seems to be emanating from the very walls themselves. One of the beings motions for us to stop before a great door. Over the door is an inscription that I cannot read. The great door slides noiselessly open, and I am beckoned to enter. One of my hosts speaks. "Have no fear, Admiral. You are to have an audience with the Master." I step inside, and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration that seems to be filling the room completely. Then I begin to see my surroundings. What greeted my eyes is the most beautiful sight of my entire existence. It is, in fact, too beautiful and wondrous to describe. It is exquisite and delicate. I do not think there exists a human term that can describe it in any detail with justice. My thoughts are interrupted in a cordial manner by a warm, rich voice of melodious quality. "I bid you welcome to our domain, Admiral." I see a man with delicate features and with the etching of years upon his face. He is seated at a long table. He motions me to sit down in one of the chairs. After I am seated, he places his fingertips together and smiles. He speaks softly again and conveys the following. We have let you enter here because you are of noble character and well known on the surface world. Surface world, I half gasp under my breath. Yes, the master replies with a smile. You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. We shall not long delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface and for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I shall tell...
Alright. We gotta park this and have a quick chat. You guys remember the story that came out about what actually happened to Admiral Byrd when he went to the Arctic? Arctic. Because this is Operation High Jump, right? And Operation High Jump concluded with them being attacked and sliced apart by flying saucers. Him and his crew barely survived. So, what are we talking about? This is what I say, right? If he rendered this, which, shout out to Raj, you will be safely escorted back to the surface. You are in this, you are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of Earth, of the Earth. We shall not long delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface and for a distance beyond. Doesn't sound like an attack to me.
escorted back to the
Oh
surface.
yeah, Raj. Let's not forget the Antarctic Treaty that was signed in 1959, which basically meant no man shall go where we have not gone. Or no, sorry, no man shall go where we have gone. I.e., you're allowed to go where I say you can go. Sounds like a narc to me, huh? We all know some narcissists, don't we? Shout out to the narcs! Shout out to the narcs of this world. You can do, or sorry, I can do it, but you can't. Do as I say, not as I do. Bitch! Okay, let's go. Sorry to cuss.
And for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I shall tell you why you have been summoned here. Our interest rightly begins just after your race exploded the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. It was at that alarming time we sent our flying machines, the Flugerods, to your surface world to investigate what your race had done. That is, of course, past history now, my dear Admiral. But I must continue on.
So, someone placed, what was it, Hiroshima? I guess Hiroshima would have been, what, the early 1900s? I don't know. Guys, I have honestly no clue. Like, I forget dates like crazy. I know numbers really well. I'm starting to get better at my storytelling. But I don't have a date for this. But if we do have a date, they sent their flying machines, the Flugelrads, sorry. He did a better job of saying it than I did. And he earlier in the talk edified that these things had swastikas on them. And we all know about what the Germans did to the swastika, making it the Hakenkreuz. The Hakenkreuz is the thing, the bad thing. The swastika is the good thing. And I know this because my dude Raj has that tatted on him. And nobody tattoos something like that that's from the motherland of Trinidad. Nobody from the land of Trinidad has hate in their body. Nobody. I will like, bro, I'll go to blows for that. Right? So I know that that's the swastika, which is a good thing. The Hakenkreuz is a piece of poop. Piece of poop! Okay, let's go.
You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity. But now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man. Namely, that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. I interrupted. But what does this have to do with me, sir? The Master's eyes seemed to penetrate deeply into my mind, and after studying me for a few moments, he replied, "Your race has now reached the point of no return, for there are those among you who would destroy your very world, rather than relinquish their power as they know it." I nodded, and the Master continued, "In 1945 and afterward, we tried to contact your race, but our efforts were met with hostility."
So 1945. Who was in power in 1945? Let's take a look. Because I think I know who it was, but let's take a look. So we go President. 1945. Because I think I know who it is. But let's see. Oh, it's Roosevelt. Truman. No, Truman. Truman. Truman or Roosevelt? Roosevelt. Man, I don't know how to say it. They weren't my boss. I'm Canadian, right? Get it? Anyways, so 1940. So Truman, 33rd. Wow, look at that. He was the 33rd president. Wow. I've seen that number quite a bit. 33. That was a number I was in high school basketball. Too funny. Kiwi 33. Ha! Anyways, serving from 1945 to 1953. So he would have been in Truman as president at that time. Interesting. All right. So they attempted to contact in 1945, huh?
Our Fluger rods were fired upon. Yes, even pursued with malice and animosity by your fighter planes. So, now I say to you, my son, there is a great storm gathering in your world. A black fury that will not spend itself for many years. There will be no answer in your arms. There will be no safety in your science. It may rage on until every flower of your culture is trampled, and all human things are leveled in vast chaos. Your recent war was only a prelude of what is yet to come for your race. We here see it more clearly with each hour. Do you say I'm mistaken?
So again, shout out to Raj. Thank you so much for that tag. 1945, August 6th, the Hiroshima bombing. Right? And then, yeah, World War II was 1945. He's referring to the recent war, right? This conversation is taking place in 1947 during his Operation High Jump trip.
No, I answer. It happened once before. The Dark Ages came and they lasted for more than 500 years. Yes, my son, replied the Master. The Dark Ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall. But I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say. We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures. And they will be here, my son.
Legendary treasure. Shout out to Noah's Ark. We all love that. Well, at least I love that treasure. It's so good.
Safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then, you will have learned the futility of war and its strife. And after that time, certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With these closing words, our meeting seemed at an end. I stood for a moment as in a dream, but yet I knew this was reality, and for some strange reason I bowed slightly, either out of respect or humility. I do not know which. Suddenly I was again aware that the two beautiful hosts who had brought me here were again at my side. "This way, Admiral," motioned one. I turned once more before leaving and looked back toward the Master. A gentle smile was etched on his delicate and ancient face. "Farewell, my son," he spoke. Then he gestured with a lovely, slender hand motion of peace, and our meeting was truly ended.
Bro. Madness. Oh, right. Well, we kind of skipped to the shoot. All right. Well, yeah, I'll leave this up for a minute. Yeah, guys. Uh, Killian, I think Granddad did. Ha, I love it. Shout out to my grandfather. Shout out to my grandfather. He's so great. Love him. Um, I don't. What did you guys think of that? That's pretty dope. That was pretty dope. That was pretty cool. So this is the drawing, the Agartha Antarctica's Secret. And so the cut or the hole that he would have entered into, this is the hole that I'm learning about. Pardon the pun. Lord Jesus, please forgive me for that. Um but this is where I theorize the light that we witness above in the sun that we see, right? The sun and the moon that I've been talking about, obviously, that we see. This central sun is what I suspect to be the black sun. Black whole sun, right? And once this black sun comes up to the surface, it hits the hole, it changes to actually light. That light hits the prism called the firmament, and it creates a visualization of the sun and the moon, depending on where you're standing. That's what I think, how I think it works. And this is why I brought this chat to it. So shout out to Raj again for bringing this to me. Shout out to Mark for bringing this to me, because really I've just taught the whole theory of the universe in 2 lessons. I'm kidding, they're not lessons, but yeah, right? So again, through Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump trip, which has been edified by everybody, right? We just took in an audio presentation that we believe to be him that edifies his flight path, and we've taken in a drawing that was created based off of his witness account, and this edifies the central sun, right? And there can be only one sun, right? And I'm proposing to you that this one sun, through its location, again, Soundgarden, shout out to Chris Cornell, black hole sun, comes up to the hole. And again, we will be getting into where this is in the finite, but this hole is directly below the North Star Polaris. The central sun is located directly below Polaris. So it comes up to the hole, changes, refracts, moon, sun. I'm standing over here by Kentucky Mammoth Cave. I look up in the sky, I see the sun, I see the moon. I look over towards the hole if I'm close enough, and I see the Aurora Borealis, right? The shimmering lights coming out, because again, the atmosphere is comprised of gases, and light in the atmosphere activates those gases, i.e. the sun is an igniter. It ignites the gases in the atmosphere. That's why we tan when we're in the path of the sun. That's my thought right now. Yeah. This is actually becoming fun, because now I'm understanding how it all works. So how does it move? We'll get into that. That's coming, because I can't get there yet. We're not there yet, because right now we've established. Because here's what we've done today, which is huge in my books, is we've identified what we see in the moon, right? Because we all see the moon, and we all identify with the fact that we see these dark and light spots in the moon, right? So today I said to you, hey guys, this is what I think those shapes that we see in the moon are, right? I demonstrated, right? Unpacked it. Shout out to Vibes of Cosmos for supplying the visual stem, right? Through that, we were able to unpack the landforms, which as Tom said earlier, you can label it whatever you want. However, when those lines are projected and those everything's, remember when we were younger, connect the dots, la 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 la. You literally start tracing that out. It seems to closely resemble what we're sitting on or what we're standing on, right? I have other stuff that I'm going to be adding to this, like flight paths and everything else, but we'll be getting there eventually. We're not there yet by any stretch of the imagination, right? So we've established that we are seeing a projected plane mirrored image in the firmament, right? That's what we're seeing. And we know that that's a 2D visual, right? It doesn't change form. It's there. What we see, well, there. It's there, and it's a circle, and that's it. It doesn't change. It doesn't like, yeah, that doesn't rotate. Nothing. All it does is waxes and wanes, right? It just opens and closes, so to speak. Okay. So now that we've established the moon and the relationship that I believe we have with it, right? We're standing on the quarter and we're looking at the quarter, the reflection of the quarter, right? That's what we're looking at up there at the moon. We're standing on the plateau, the same quarter, right? Having said all that, with Admiral Byrd's recount, which we just went through again, edification, you guys saw who Mark Sargent is, right? You saw him on my show, you know who he is as a person. He presented Admiral Byrd, he edified him, okay? My backup to who Admiral Byrd was his specific recount, right? We sat, we took in the audio presentation, and then I presented you with a drawing that was created off of his trip. This is how I arrive at the standpoint of black hole sun. Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for being here, as always. I hope that you guys enjoy your Sunday. And yeah, thanks for listening to me talk about this. I hope it's starting to make sense. I hope you guys leave me some comments. Let me know if I'm maybe too far off kilter. I don't know. You guys let me know. But I would really appreciate it. Heat comes from the ground, not the sky. Okay, well, heat. I can't really say heat. I have to say gases, right? Because I say that the atmosphere is comprised of gases. Because there's certain things that I don't know how to fully explain. Like I haven't been able to grasp certain ideas yet. But what I can say is, the environment is comprised of gases, and the sun and the moon both take advantages of those gases. And we know this because the temperature has been measured both by the moonlight, the moonbeams, right? People have measured those temperatures and said that it's actually cooler. And again, because there's only one, I'm proposing to you that there's only one central sun. If there's only one central sun, then that tells me everything else is all refraction. Light, like literally light refracted off of a prism. And that's how it's all created. Heat rises though. Yeah. I got guys. Bit by bit, you know, and like an example of that heat rises is comets, right? Like when you take a look at a comet is a collection of gases, right? So if you put a cup of rubbing alcohol out on the sidewalk in the sun, that rubbing alcohol will eventually evaporate, right? It changes form, it becomes a gas, it evaporates, it goes into the atmosphere. Now at some point those gases all come together, they get collected, and they get ignited, and they shoot across the atmosphere, right? And what we think are comets are actually just big giant fireworks. So from a standpoint of like heat rises, I know. Okay, actually, no. You know what? Actually, Jackie, I got your explanation for that. Heat rises because the molecules in the heat are excited, right? The molecules in the actual atmosphere are excited. So you take a microwave as an example. Turn on your cameras. Okay, fine. Sorry. Thanks. Oh shoot. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so take a microwave as an example. We'll take a cup of coffee. So if I take that cup of coffee, stick it in the microwave, and I set it for like, I don't know, a minute, I taste the coffee, it's hot, right? We see the steam coming off, and it stings our tongue, right? The molecules inside the liquid are excited because you've taken the microwave and you've zapped it, you've nuked it, right? So you've excited the molecules, right? So they're all excited and they come to the top, right? So if you were to measure a cup of coffee from top to bottom, the excited molecules would be at the top, right? And the non-excited molecules would be at the bottom. That's why whenever you heat up something in the microwave, you should always stir it so it gives a thorough heat, right? The excited particles will mix with the non-excited particles, and everything will be kind of excited. That's why where you pour cold with hot, and it makes warm, right? Right. Can't believe I'm explaining this. Holy smokes! It's like grade 10 science now. Anyways. So when you heat up something on the stove, you add heat to it, the heat is slowly applied, it comes up to temperature, right? Warm, heat. Those molecules aren't excited, they're just rolling around, right? They're in an excited form, but they're in a heated, excited form, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Now, when those molecules aren't excited, they come down, right? They stop bouncing around off of each other and they come down, and the temperature of the beverage, the coffee, whatever comes down with it as well, right? That's kind of the theory of how hot air rises. So hot air, which is excited, right, will rise, right? But that's just the that's not the gases in the atmosphere. That's the how excited the particles are, the molecules are, if that's the word, in the gas. So it's going to rise, right? So if we go into a room on a hot day, put our hand up in the ceiling, it's super hot. We'll put our hand down low, it's cold, we turn on the AC. If you have a properly designed room, right, you'll have a louver on the side wall that will allow you to put the hot air at the bottom, so that when the hot air comes out at the bottom, hot air rises, so then it heats up the entire room as it rises. And then you would have cold air, if you have AC in that room, coming out at the top. So cold air, because it's dense, right, the molecules aren't excited, it comes down and it cools the room as it washes down the room. I hope all that makes sense. I don't know, I kind of did that on the spot. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you. I'm out. Have an amazing day. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And thanks for hanging out. Bye, guys. Love you. So, I love it. Yeah, well, my mom just said rub sticks together to create fire. That's a great example. Because you create friction. Anyways, love you guys. Bye. Oh yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you would do that. Share with your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Or can someone bring a friend? I don't know. Tell your friends. I love you. Bye.